Well, it's time to talk about Nassau County and the latest stunt that this county has upheld, and we're going to talk about it, and that is the mask ban. We're going to talk about a bunch of things here, just a typical, typical video talking about, how messed up things are on Long Island. So, obviously, News 12 covered this in detail. Of course, they were on the South Shore a lot, too. We're going to talk about the Snobs in Rockville Centre upset about something. But first, we're going to look at this story here, and that is Bruce Blakeman signing the ban on masks effective immediately. So this law makes it illegal to wear a mask in public to hide one's identity. But this is going to be, this is the only law in the country that has been passed. And, it's funny because the Republicans, and they call themselves the Republicans, they believe the party of less government. They're more like the party of more government. This is like, I don't need the government telling me when I can. It's ridiculous. So we're going to play the story here, and I'll add my comments.
County's new mask ban is now law. Republican County Executive Bruce Blakeman signing the measure today as it faces some criticism from some Democrats and others. News 12's John Dowding is in Mineola tonight. John, good evening.
Yeah, hey, good evening to you, Joe. Now, this first of its kind ban since the end of the pandemic does provide exceptions for medical and religious reasons. But those we spoke to here in Nassau County say they're just curious how police would even enforce this type of ban.
Yeah, exactly. How do you... And this is the same guy that signed a ban on transgender athletes, by the way. I look at them all cheering. There's so many people that are just so full of hate in this county, mainly on the South Shore, of course.
It's now illegal in Nassau County to wear
Which
a
is
mask
what he
in
represents.
public.
Nobody has a constitutional right to hide their identity in public.
County Executive Bruce Blakeman says the law protects the public after he says people in masks committed anti-Semitic attacks during the protests at Columbia University and used masks to commit crimes in Nassau.
People using masks to shoplift, to carjack, to rob banks. And this is activity that we want to stop.
In a statement, Nassau County Democratic Minority Leader Delia Dirigi-Witten said in part, quote, Bruce Blakeman's decision to sign the mask ban law is nothing more than political theater and a blatant waste of taxpayer
And it will be
money.
struck down
This law
in
is
court.
designed to be struck down in
Just
court.
like the law
The
against
NYCLU
transgender
also
athletes.
spoke out against the bill, saying in part, once again, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman has chosen to chase a culture war over protecting the rights and well-being of his own residents. But public opinion still remains divided over this newest law.
It's a fantastic move.
If the people are doing it so that no one can see their face, then yeah, I think we should stop, because if they're doing something illegal, they should be held accountable for it.
But if he wants to wear it, how are you going to stop somebody from putting something on their body? It doesn't make sense. It's like having a dress code.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, last week, the 7 Democratic legislators abstained from the vote when the full legislature voted on that bill. Now, again, this law makes it a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a $1,000 fine and a year in jail for wearing a face covering to hide your identity in public. In Mineola this evening, I'm John
It's
Dowd.
absolutely ridiculous, right? All right. Meanwhile, we have a lot of quality of life issues in the middle part of the county, and this is what Bruce Blakeman cares about. It's unbelievable. It really is. So we have another story. Again, it's 12 all over this. Small police departments throughout Nassau are reviewing the mask law.
Police departments in Nassau County thinking carefully about how or if it should be enforced.
Yeah, News 12's Kevin Vesey is in Hempstead right now. So, Kevin, are
I'm
officials
surprised they
there
actually went
telling
to
you
Hempstead.
anything about this?
Yeah, Joe, so we spoke with a spokesperson for the mayor's office. He told us that enforcement of that mask ban is not a priority here right now and that the law is still under review. And the village of Hempstead is not the only municipality in Nassau County that's taking a closer look at this controversial measure. From Hempstead to Glen Cove and Garden City, local governments and police departments deciding what to do with Nassau's new law, which makes it illegal for someone to wear a mask to hide their identity. And
the thing is, who's going to determine whether you're wearing it to hide your identity or for a medical reason? Is it the police officer's job? No. This is going to cause a lot of people to wind up getting falsely charged with crimes. That's my concern.
Said village spokesperson says the law is being reviewed and its enforcement by village police will not be prioritized.
This is an unjust law. This is a wicked law.
Arthur Mackey is a pastor in nearby
Exactly.
Roosevelt who says the mask ban would unfairly target peaceful protesters. The law allows police to determine if someone is wearing a mask for a legitimate health purpose.
And who do the police have to determine that? I mean, it's ridiculous. Really. This is the United States of America.
We cannot leave it up to a police officer to decide who has cancer.
Exactly.
To decide who has COVID-19 or diabetes. We're very concerned that this law would target black and brown people.
Meanwhile, the mayor of Glen Cove will meet with that city's police department to discuss next steps. And Garden City Police say the new law is under review there as well. In response to Hempstead's stance, Nassau's Deputy County Executive for Public Safety wrote, law enforcement professionals typically do not engage in selective enforcement unless ordered to do so by their political leaders.
That's kind of funny that's coming from the Deputy County Executive for Public Safety because that's exactly what Nassau County does. Selective enforcement.
Pastor Mackey says,
we have to call on our judicial system to step in and
Exactly.
to stop this law, to eradicate it.
and we also heard from the police chief in Old Westbury, who told us the law will be enforced there in a prudent and just manner while respecting the rights of those people who the officers there encounter. So Antoinette and Joe, already a lot of back and forth on this issue.
There's going to be a lot of problems going on as a result of this law. Now, what if a business owner says, well, I don't want people with masks in my store, and he's going to have the police come and arrest them? I mean, this is a very, very disturbing violation of our civil liberties in this country. It really is. This is the kind of authoritarianism you have from the Trumplican Party. Remember, it's not a Republican Party anymore, because the Republican Party believed in less government and generally more freedom. That was the stance of the Republican Party. That party doesn't exist anymore. It's now the Trumplican Party, all right? And that's what Bruce Blakeman is. He's like a mini me of Donald Trump. It's this kind of disgusting kind of thing that we have here, all right? That's going on here, and it really is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, let's take a look and see what else is going on in the world of snobs. And here you go, another one.
Getting heated tonight.
Rockville Centre. Here are the snobs in Rockville Centre upset about a medical facility being proposed on Sunrise Highway. We all know why they don't want it there. It's the same reason why they don't want apartments for people like me there. You know, they only want their own kind.
And they have a solid track record of delivering on the promises of what it's not.
Yo, control yourselves, okay?
And dozens packed the meeting over a proposal to transform part of Sunrise Highway in Rockville Centre. The Village Zoning Board of Appeals is weighing a plan for a 3-story building out there. It would house medical practices, but residents say the village has medical facilities and enough traffic problems.
This project will be detrimental to the area. It will alter the essential character of Rockville Centre.
Yeah, by possibly bringing in people who don't look exactly just like you, right?
Potentially lowering property values.
Representatives for the developers declined to speak with us on camera about the communities.
So this is a medical office. This is what they're upset about. Are you freaking kidding me? Really? I mean... Of course, back on the South Shore again for this. They're all over the South Shore. Freeport PD, back to patrolling waterways. Not even going to play that one. Meanwhile, cement truck overturns on the LAE. That was only covered for 22 seconds. Because again, that's the middle of the island.
This video here was taken near exit 41 around 11 o'clock this morning. The middle lane was closed because of this crash.
Middle of the island, so they don't really care too much about that. That doesn't affect the chosen ones. Let's see what other kind of crap that they've got on here. Another one of these fluff stories. Let's see. Another fluff story again. Got a lot of that. So, Oops. And of course, they don't talk about the smoke, but at least South Shore Sam wasn't there today. Addison Green was, actually. He might have brought up the smoke. I don't know. But we're not going to talk about that in this video. So Nassau County claims to be the safest county in the country. Let's go here. Of course, it's all due to this guy, right? So we got two stories on that here. Nassau County ranks safest in America. Suffolk also in the top 25. I really do. I find that hard to believe. I really do. I find it extremely hard to believe. Yeah, maybe if you're sitting pretty on the South Shore in an enclave, but here in the middle of the island, I mean, I'm not saying it's one of the more dangerous parts of the country, but it's certainly, I don't think it's one of the safest. That's for sure. So it says here, Nassau is ranked as the safest county in New York. It said in a recent report of the 25 safest communities in America. So Nassau was number one. Those are some of the rankings there. Suffolk County. This is the Suffolk County ranking here. These are the top 25 safest counties, communities in the country. And I just wonder where they get this data from. And, if all these areas, I mean, does it really include Hempstead? How's Queens on this list? There's so much crime in Queens. Hear about it all the time. I mean, I don't understand it. So we're going to play this story from CBS.
Counties in the country.
It's
Nassau
only
County
25
topped U.S. News
seconds.
and World Report's list. Rockland was third. Westchester and Putnam were in the top 10, while Queens and Kings County made the top 25. Over in New Jersey, Bergen County was number 9. Everything from access to emergency care to gun violence.
I have a hard time believing that Nassau is one of the safest counties in, considering some of the stuff I've seen. You've seen the stuff that I've showed you, and you just read about the crime that goes on. In fact, there was one crime that was pretty bad, actually, that we're going to talk about here at the end. News 12 did cover this. I think they did. Let's see. Let's see if they covered this. Yeah, so this was a crime here that happened in Levittown. A woman was assaulted while sleeping in her home with an unknown object by an unknown person. So this seems to be like a random crime. This is the kind of stuff that goes on because we have a lot of people out on the streets that belong in jail. And Bruce Blakeman is like, oh, I'm keeping Nassau County safe. No, you're only keeping it safe for the people on the South Shore. The rest of us get to deal with all the, and sometimes the crime will spill into the South Shore, but it's mainly the middle of the island that gets to deal with this kind of stuff. And Levittown, unfortunately, is in the middle of the island. It's on the fringe of the enclave, but it's not really in the enclave. So we're going to play this story. It's pretty horrific.
Dead 2 months after she was attacked while sleeping in her home.
And her attacker has not been caught.
News 12 Cecilia Dowd.
Oh yeah, and the attacker is still on the loose in the safest county in the country. Right.
She was a retired lawyer, and she had a good heart, and we moved into this house 2.5 years ago, and she was the first neighbor to reach out to us, came over, and was very, very, very nice.
Linda Levy, who also went by Lindsay, was more than just a neighbor to Marcia Dubé.
Everybody in my family called her Sister Linda because they said, how's your sister Linda doing? And we were hoping you would pull through, and she didn't.
Linda would look after Marcia's children.
We adore her. She had little names for them: Champ, Captain, Smiley. And we're heartbroken today. We're really heartbroken. She encouraged the kids to do well, and that's one thing I loved about her.
Though retired, Linda sure kept busy.
She would involve in all these Corvette clubs, all 3 Corvette clubs she was in. She had the giant tomato. She was involved. She grew the biggest tomato.
Linda, in her 60s, was attacked by an unknown person with an unknown object, cops said. There's been no arrest in the case. Cecilia Dowd, News 12, Long Island.
And of course, if you have any information about what happened.
This is terrible, really is. And this is she was attacked in her home by an unknown person. And let's see. I mean, that's the only story they've got. Really? Seems to be the only story that they had on it. Oh, here we go. So this is so I can pull up what originally happened here from Channel 7.
Well, a neighborhood on Long Island is on edge today after a violent home invasion and assault. Police say the 64-year-old victim was fast asleep in the middle of the night when she was suddenly hit in the face by the suspect. Long Island reporter Shantae Lanz is live in Levittown with much more on this very disturbing story. Shantae.
And the guy is still on the loose. Safest county in the country, right?
Well, as disturbing is the perfect word. That woman was struck repeatedly in her face and throughout her body. And the big question that remains, because her condition is unknown right now, but another big question is if this was targeted, and if so, why? Falling asleep inside this home was anything but peaceful. After Nassau police say someone entered this Levittown house early Sunday morning before striking a sleeping 64-year-old woman in her face.
There was police out on the street asking if we had like footage or like the Ring camera.
The victim's house has cameras, but it's not clear if they're working.
You can see Levittown has become a more diverse area, so of course it's not going to get taken care of as much as the Lily White areas, and it's going to deal with more problems like this.
Gloves left behind at the scene near Straight and North Lanes.
We've been here for 17 years and, you know, she's been nothing but nice, so I can't imagine something like this happening to her.
Neighbors, many too afraid to speak on camera, say they're shocked.
It's very scary.
This happening to her is very, very sad. And, you know, we never experienced anything like this in this neighborhood.
It is surprising. It's upsetting because, you know, she's a nice lady.
Denisha Jones works at a nearby group home.
I saw her like a couple of times, like in her yard, you know, like planting and stuff. So she's a nice lady.
Many describe her as loving and a lawyer.
We're like family. She comes over here, we play with our children, my mom. And the last time we sat down and we were chatting was on last Friday.
I still feel like it's a safe block, but that's definitely something scary. I definitely have a closer eye on my kids, you know. Probably closing the doors a little bit more, making sure the windows are locked at night.
The woman attacked was rushed to a nearby hospital.
I only hope and pray and ask of God so that she can recover and be back with us.
And it's not clear at this hour if that attacker left by vehicle or on foot. So far, no suspects or arrests.
So nothing has been, and now this is now a murder now. All right, so let's show you where Straight Lane is in Levittown, see if I can find it. I thought I know where Straight Lane is. It's somewhere up Gardner's Avenue, isn't it? Oh, that's Hill Lane. Now let's find Straight Lane. So yeah, right over here. So it's actually off Wantar Avenue, right by the Island Trees school. So right here in this area, this is the street right here that happened in. This is generally a safe area, but it is the middle of the island, so you know, it's not gonna, you know, sort of toward the middle of the island. So this is the kind of stuff that we get to deal with in the safest county in the country, of course. So yeah, that's what we get to deal with in the safest county in the country, right? I'm not saying you know there's never any crime, there's crime everywhere, but you know there's been an awful lot of these kind of things happening where people are attacked for no reason. Because look at what we have. Maybe the guy was an unstable homeless person. We don't know. He hasn't been caught yet. Which is, it could have been random. It could have been targeted. It sounds to me like it's a random thing. But it's all very, very disturbing. It really, really is. And that's the kind of stuff that we get to deal with. And so if we go back to news12.com here, and we'll go to news12.com, and if we go to crime. So this is the story they covered. Of course, let's see. Oh, they got this one too. So again, in the safest county in the country, 2 suspects wanted for stealing school buses.
Help tonight to find 2 people who stole from a camp on the North Shore. News 12's crime reporter Krista McNally has the details tonight from Roslyn. Krista, good evening.
Good evening. That's right. We are outside of Pierce Country Day Camp. This is where police say 2 people stole 2 buses from the back fence area
Where'd you steal a
behind
school
me.
bus?
Now police are hoping that the public can help find these 2 suspects wanted for grand larceny.
Disgusting. Heh. They only think about themselves.
People were upset to find out that the 2 subjects pictured here allegedly stole buses and damaged a gate to the Pierce Country Day Camp back in April, according to Nassau County Police.
It's happened in April and they're just talking about it now.
Hearing things like that, it's a lot to mention, and people don't really expect it in this area.
According to a statement released by the camp, a back gate was left open for a vendor. That is when they say the 2 people got in. The 2 were approached by a caretaker from the camp and they fled on foot. According to police, they headed towards Mineola Avenue around 5:20 on the evening of April 28th.
Mineola Avenue.
And now they are
goes to
seeking the
Mineola.
public's help in identifying the 2 people.
Taking back from our community is not the way to go.
If you have any information, you are being asked to call Nassau County Crime Stoppers, and for the full...
So they did cover that at least. There was a landscaping truck stolen. That's Suffolk County. I'm mainly focusing on Nassau. But there's crime in Nassau. Here we go. Elmont man assaults 2 officers were called to give him medical assistance. Of course, this only got 22 seconds. Incident began after as officers arrived at an Elmont apartment building and attempted to escort Hergen's Jasmine from his bedroom. So they punched. He also had a dagger in his apartment too. So, this is the kind of stuff that we get to deal with here in the middle of the island. So there you go. But hey, the priority for Nassau County is banning masks. That's the priority. Not doing anything about these dangerous people roaming around, particularly in the middle of the island. That's not a priority at all for them. So, there you go. That's all I'm going to say. Good night.